were we able to consult. They also come from all provinces. All provinces are represented in the structure as a way of inclusiveness, but as a way of ensuring that we go. I think there were questions that were specific to Comrade Floyd, which I'm sure you'll be happy to answer to it. Then there is a question in terms of gender balance. I think that I've addressed it. The youth, you are correct. The party is, in terms of, it's got two youth structures: MK Student Movement and the MK Youth League. And in the statement that the president at least had for the press briefing, it is clear that we are also going to strengthen in terms of those structures and allow them to be autonomous so that they are also able to have programs that are aligned within the mother body. But they'll also become, the leadership there becomes ex-official members of the National High Command. As I was reading the president's statement, it's captured. So I think that also addresses it. Let me also give it to Comrade Floyd so that he just deals with specific questions.
But thank you very much, Secretary General, and greetings to the President of Nkandla's party, President Zuma, and Deputy President Dr. Hlophe, the Secretary General, Dr. Maseko, the Treasurer General, Commander Menzi, the National Chair is Constantine Ntleko, and the Deputy National Chair is Commander Bilwan, and the DSG is Commander Nomuzi. We are here in the press conference of Nkandla party to announce the structures of Nkandla party. That is the primary purpose, a party which we voluntarily have joined, and for correct reasons. When we were speaking in the other platform, we made a plea for avoiding of mischaracterization of an otherwise correct and revolutionary decision and act to join Nkandla party. What President Zuma is doing with Nkandla party is what the statement of Nkandla did in 1961 on the 16th of December. Now that the liberation movement has been banned, what other platform do we use? Fight for total liberation. There is absolutely no doubt that the liberation movement is no longer existing in the form that it's supposed to do. It has been captured totally. It is directed from elsewhere. And then this is a platform. And what is unique about Nkandla party is a purposeful, foundational approach and principle is to assemble people who can govern society to come and govern society in South Africa. It's not wishful thinking to say that we've got these ideas of what we're going to do. Is to assemble the best of the best. So if you were to check even with the people that have been identified now, the first consignment that is going to the National Assembly, if you go to check their track record objectively and not led by these nonsense of right-wing media platforms, you will accept that the contributions that Brian Molefe did in the public investment corporations, in the Transnet, in ESCOM, you will appreciate the contributions that Esiyabonga Gama did and contributed in Transnet. stable organizations. Whatever can be said, even with the former SARS commissioner, there have been a lot of things which were misled about for a very long time, that everyone else who is not a puppet of the establishment of the people. That is not the case. And people say that the public statements and writings and articles and even interviews that we did, when we came to the realization that for a very long time we misled in terms of our characterization of society. They said there's capture because they were no longer in control of key state institutions. The white capitalist establishment was no longer in control, and then they said there's a crisis. If there was truly a crisis, why is that crisis not there now? Like, can they show us the crisis which they said existed before? So to assemble the best of the best amongst black people together in society is a best decision. And to associate with that is best and sound decision. People who can govern, like it's as simple as that. Like, if you say that who amongst ourselves is the best, and then you say, let's assemble those who can demonstrate that they have got capacity to run otherwise very complex and huge institutions, who are not going to collaborate with the establishment and switch on electricity on and off and say it's load shedding because there's a crisis of this and that. People who are genuine and real and have never done anything wrong, and of course will be criminalized for one reason or another. I agree that we should unite all the progressive forces on common agenda, because this thing of small unviable parties, when all of us can set aside president, branch be a member at a high level. That is the principle that we're dealing with. And that is what we're here for, in terms of, and so that there's not even confusion. By the way, we spoke about the unification of all progressive parties with President Zuma last year, October, before the official announcement of Nkandla party. And I was amongst those that said that let us go and contest elections as separate political parties. We'll contest each other on the ground, but we'll come back to talk about what we do moving forward. So the attempt for unification is not just an opportunistic one because there were electoral declines of the EFF and all of those things. It's a genuine political discussion, which all South Africans must enter into, those who are in favor of the revolution. Because revolution is the content of what we're standing for. It's not just, no, if it's me, you're betraying me. You know, some people are saying, you're betraying me. Where does that enter? And you don't even once suggest that I'm betraying the revolution. I'll never betray the revolution. Because we're not in the business of trying to please each other's egos here. We're in the business of building a revolutionary movement that is going to emancipate the black majority and Africans in particular, and we're unapologetic about that. That is what we stand for. And President Zuma, when he was inducting all of us yesterday, he says that we might be friends or we might think we're friends, but friendship won't apply here. If you do not do these things right, you're going to be taken care of appropriately. Some people were asking me that what is going to happen because in MAP leadership changes every week and all of those things. What if they change? I said, like, if I'm removed as national organizer, I'm going to be a member. And if I'm removed as a member, I'm going to be a volunteer and put posters even without approval of the leadership. I'm not here for opportunistic purposes. And that is what we are all about. I think all of us, all the progressive forces, let's unite and build this movement. There is no dictatorship, there is political discussions. In all the times that we have got to interact with President Zuma, he has the patience to have political and ideological discussions to persuade people about how do we move forward. He does not stand to subjectively gain anything out of that. It's not like he's subjectively going to gain anything out of it. He has said that let's unite all the progressive forces so that we can build a solid movement that will take us forward. Otherwise, the other things that are said are not worth responding to. We're going to go to the ground. Let's coexist, all of us, and then let's persuade each other. Let's build the MKP as a party which is going to take over government of South Africa. Thank you very much.
Well said, well said. Amanda! Right, good morning. I just want to deal with three questions. The first question was simply this. Did we deploy Comrade Floyd as a national organizer because we want to destroy the EFF? I'm paraphrasing. Far from it. Far from it. Comrade Floyd has been, all our comrades are deployed to various structures on merit. There is nobody who's being destroyed because, there is no one who's being deployed because we want to destroy the EFF as a party. We're running our own political programs as the Umsebenzi party, regardless of the EFF's position on any issue. So he is a very experienced politician. He's sharp like a razor. I said that last night, and I repeat it. He is sharp like a razor, and he would no doubt play a very important role as far as the MK party is concerned going forward. I've dealt with that. The second question relates to comrades of the MK party who were expelled and who are now taking legal action against the MK party. That matter is sub judice. As a matter of law, we do not comment on cases that are pending before court. All I can tell you is this. They have every right, just like any one of you here, has any right to take anyone to court. You can make all kinds of allegations. At the end of the day, it is a judge sitting alone in his or her chambers who will decide the case on the 3rd of September. We're glad that the hearing date has been expedited and the matter will be finalized very soon. The other question related to a case, I think it's a case that has been opened against the president by Mr. Jabulani Khumalo, and I think there are allegations of fraud that have been leveled. Mr. Khumalo, similarly, like any human being walking the surface of this earth, has a right to open a case against anyone that he chooses to open a case against. It is unwise to comment on the allegations that have been made by Mr. Khumalo in his court papers, which allegations have been leveled against the president of Umsebenzi party. We do not, as a rule, comment on matters that are pending before court. It is completely unwise, and we do not do that as a matter of policy and as a rule. Thank you very much.
Thank you, leadership. Floyd was asked a question. He delivered an organizing speech. I'm telling that the last time you were speaking, you were resigning. Today we are welcoming forces into. Let's come this side, colleague. We'll take you 1, yes, and then 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to be 1, 2, the same You introduce yourself, the media in which you come from, and the leadership will decide who answers which question.
Thank you. Nkandla from ENCA. President Zuma, just on the developments within the ANC, you were expelled by the political party and given 21 days to appeal, which you didn't do. You spent at least 6 decades in the ANC. We haven't gotten your comment in terms of the political party, the one that you said you'd die in, just around the recent developments there. Secondly, there was also mention of MPs that would not be MK party members but would be deployed in Parliament. Can we just get further clarity who these MPs are and why the reasoning behind them, deploying them without being MK party members? And thirdly, I understand there was a suggestion that there won't be any elections anytime soon for leadership positions, but could you get maybe an understanding of the tenure of the leadership now? Is it indefinite? Is it till maybe the 2026 local government elections? Yeah, just clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Ziyanda Ngobo from Newsroom Africa. A briefing was held by those expelled members, and in essence they've mentioned the names of Nkandla Zuma, Sihle Ngubane and Nkandla as being gatekeepers, Mr. President, for getting access to you to raise concerns. Are you aware of this, Mr. Zuma? How do people get access to you, if at all, when they want to raise concerns within the structures of the Mxolisi party? And these expelled members are also saying that they were never engaged about being placeholders in Parliament. I know that's not necessarily the nub of what they're saying in the court paper, so I think maybe we can get some clarity on who exactly is telling the truth, because even your spokesperson, Nkandla, has engaged on this. Thank you.
Sibonga konke ngokuncamana nabawona phambili umshini okhulumayo ngokwamadoda ngisayibambe lapha Sunday World. Ncamalana mhlambe asiqale kulolu daba lwe-unity among what you call progressive forces. Ngabe wena etho level njengamanje kulokho kwenzekile kukaBabushibangu eza ngala okudala inkulumeni nanokuthi njengoba dadwethu seshilo lapho ukuthi ufuna ukudala uqhekeko ngale ufuna ukuqeda nya ke ingabe wena kule level okuyona usuthathile ithuba lokuthi uxhumane nomholi we-EFF babuJulius Malema ashore ukuthi there is no such, if there isn't, by the way, if there is no attempt to destroy the EFF, and that you are building this unity. And also, how do you build this unity among what you call the progressive forces without antagonizing other parties such as the EFF that are, well, obviously antagonized by the departure of Mr. Floyd Shivambu at this point in time? Also to hook on the question that we to Ziyanda, that we to no brother, and also to Zuma. About what is called they have an ear. Ibona abakhona ukusondela kwena bahlele bathi uFloyd usethi manje uHlobo usethi manje bese uyaxhuma wena uya-acta based on that without confirming the veracity of leyo nto abakuhlebela ngayo. Ingabe kuyiqiniso yini lokho? If akulona iqiniso, like just put the country at ease about those particular questions. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much. Faraz Patel from Hilal TV. I just wanted to ask, in terms of a succession plan from a 10 to 15-year project, how much was this merger between Mr. Floyd Shivambu and the MK party? How much of a decision-making process was that? I mean, given that he's in his 40s, if I stand to be corrected, Nhlamulo's in his 40s, Mr. Nkandla is in her 40s, and even though President Jacob Zuma and Dr. John Hlophe have evergreen characters, you know, they are in the 60s, heading into the 70s, 80s. So how much of a decision was that in looking at Mr. Shivambu, since he served in senior positions within the ANC Youth League and within the EFF? And second question, from a foreign policy perspective, will the MK party be, you know, having dialogues with very similar leftist organizations across the world, like Venezuela. And of course, the MK party has expressed its solidarity with Palestine. Will they be meeting with Palestinian resistance groups just to have more dialogues in terms of that? Thank you very much.
There was one, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mxolisi Dlomo from Urbantainment. I'm an independent media practitioner. But first, the statement that was given. Can you hear me? Yes, sorry. Now that you're in the MK, and you've heard the statement from the president that was read out earlier, can you indulge us on your view of the credibility of the IEC and their ability to conduct free and fair elections, since the MK is continuing to challenge the results of these most recent elections? My second question is for Ubaba. You gave EWN their most viewed interview. Do you have any plans to grace platforms of independent media practitioners, podcasters like your Ms. Maswidi, etc.? And then Jabulani Kumalo gave an interview to Alec Hogg's Biz News, a liberal media organization. This for anybody within the party. Is there a case to make it important for members of the party to make a case for the MK in liberal media? Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. I think that was the last one in this round. President, should I ask Mhlamulo to sit somewhere in Dudu so that we demystify this thing of plotting there? Because when they see you together, they say you are busy plotting there. Leadership, should we allow any SG you guide any? You can come, Chair. Hey, looking nice.
Thank you very much, President, ladies and gentlemen. There are two critical questions that have been raised, and I like them. Mr. Maswidi raises the question of the underrepresentation of women. Excuse me, I have a little bit of some flu. So don't think that I have a sexy voice, it's just that it's a defect. The fact of the matter is that in MK there is no decision with regards to the underrepresentation of women. And the fact of the matter is that it is essentially at the center of the challenge of the National High Command to resolve that question and attend to it. So that next time, when assistants say, you like us more, and because you do like us, which is interesting. I also like your work. But, so it is one of those organizational challenges, because I think we should all take a cue from one thing and one thing alone. We're establishing ourselves as an organization from a functional point of view. And therefore, amongst other things, is the question of the representation of women. Women is at the center of such a question. I think there was also a gentleman from ENCA. What's his name? A viewer. Yeah. So he raises the question of what is the tenure for leadership. Again, I would say to you that what is important for us is to establish the organization, stabilize it, advance it. We will then, on the basis of such, from time to time, review our situation as an organization and decide on our state of readiness so that we could then get to a point which I I suspect you seem to be suggesting, and that's the question of having ordinarily a conventional conference that elects whatever and so on. At this stage, we can't do so. And we can't do so precisely because what is important is that we need to put the infrastructure in place and let it be a working infrastructure. But this infrastructure must also be subjected to a scientific process in terms of assessing its state of readiness to move to the next levels. So I think that would be the answer to that. The question of unity of the progressive forces is not a question of a nicety. That because we elect to be nice about it and so on, and we feel in a particular way, and therefore we need to do it, is necessitated by the mood on the ground. The mood of our people is simple. Africans are yearning for freedom and emancipation, but they're also yearning to be human. At the center of why MK was established is to respond to that particular challenge of Africans and black people in general yearning for freedom and emancipation and them being human. So it is something that I think hasn't been emphasized before, that we need to pay sufficient attention to and be committed and dedicated to. The only thing that you can ever do and do correctly is to be where people are at all material times. So let me just, those are the three questions that I needed to deal with. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I think there was a question from Uzianda. I think for me, which was, how do you get access to the president? I've had a pleasure to go and see the president Nkandla since he requested me to assist, because I've been part of the ground forces, the volunteer, the activists on the ground. I was surprised at the number of us, of the people that I saw there, that were waiting to see the president. The truth of the matter is, we are out in Ibenezu. Siyamkhathaza uNxumana. Ngoba uthi mangabe ufika lapha ungaze uthola umbone ngo-12 aqale around 1 abona abantu. Let me then translate. I think we are putting so much pressure in terms of us being able to access him, because when you are there at 12 noon or 1, you can see the president at midnight and still fresh for that 12 hours, having been able to see. So there's no one who's turned back in terms of that. Some without appointments are able to see the president. Why I like your question though is that part of what this office has to be responsible for is exactly that, to relieve the president in terms of the challenges that are taken directly to the president. The functionality of this office will be determined by the number of the queue to Inyanga or Inkosi lapha eNxumana decreasing, that at least this office is then functioning. So it's not true that the president is not accessible. He's the most accessible president of all for everybody within that.
So anyone can then be able to access the president. As Comrade Floyd had already said, he also is the most president that is able to listen and engage you on any matters for that matter. I think there was a question about, in terms of, I think it was around our international relations. The answer is really very clear. We are aligning, I think Comrade Floyd said it also quite well. We are aligning with the progressive forces in Africa and all in the world that are fighting the neoliberal agenda and imperialism. But the policy conference that we had expressed here is going to detail in terms of how our policy will be like within that. I think there was a question that was directed to Comrade Floyd about IEC. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I would like to address the question on the representation of women. I want to refer you to the statement of the media statement by the President, where it was clearly outlined that at the National High Command, you did see the reflection of women, and we are striving to get more women that are to serve in the National High Command. The credibility of those women, Floyd spoke to it, that we possess sound and solid expertise, experience, and our credentials. I'm saying our because I'm part of the National High Command. We are as strong as you would like to see. We are strong, and our voices shall be strong and be more stronger, because we're representing the women that are silenced, that cannot talk for their own. Then the second aspect is this, that in the statement by the President clearly indicates that from the National High Command to the provincial detachments, those are the structures. From the provincial provincial detachment, we are going to have a representation of 2 women from each region, and we are going to have 2 representation representatives from the youth. There was a question that was asking about the representation of the youth. So be assured that in all structures, from the provincial detachment, the regional detachment, up to the VD, women shall be represented. We are striving for the 50% representation of women as MK, and we'll definitely make the 50% representation. We are striving, and we are going to make those strides. Thank you.
Thank you, leadership. Colleagues, I've got a proposal. I know that others may still want to ask more questions and further clarification. SG, after the media briefing, will be expected to coordinate the one-on-ones to conclude the question that might not have been concluded. And maybe to sweeten the deal so that we don't fight for further hands. Against the plan of the officials, we would request the President, Jacob Zuma, to come and address, answer a few questions, and then that will be the end of our media briefing. All other outstanding questions, we request that to take to the SG. Comrade President, looking very fit and capable. Looking very fit.
Well, thank you very much, the director of the program. And thank you very much to the comrades who have answered all the questions sufficiently, satisfactory to everyone. Well, there were questions that were directed to me. Fortunately, my colleagues have answered those questions. So I'm not going to answer them. But just to also say, so that we don't say this fellow, we last saw him talking now, he can't talk. He's just, the voice has gone, blah, blah, blah. Jacob Zuma, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Nkandla, ne? Akekho ngafuna ukuzibambela nangincinze lapha ngingabi ndaba zalutho. But thank you very much for coming to hear us, and I think it is absolutely important that we interact with you. There's one thing you are missing, all of you. Because we are asking questions as if you are talking to the organization that has been here from 1960-something, etc., etc. We have not yet even finished a year. We haven't. But the kind of questions you're asking is as if this party has been there. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Not a single one of you said, but guys, you have created something that has never happened in the world. Just to be honest, to acknowledge things that have happened. There's not even a single country that had a party with only 6 months that shook all political parties. Absolutely. You don't. You want to find something wrong somewhere. There were questions that were asked, and I can't respond to the one which our judge said, matters in court, you don't talk about them outside of court. Now, if I've been charged, then let us go to court, where I will listen to accusations or whatever. With regard to the man, I'm just forgetting his name, who said that he has raised, he has made charges against me. But it's a very wonderful story that we'll talk one day. How did this man met Zuma? And what Zuma said to him? And where Zuma sent him to do what? For what reasons? It's a very nice story. Partly because Zuma, as one of those who were trained for underground, to take actions against his organization. And this was part of underground work. That Zuma must not say, I've either done this and done this. Zuma must send some very much unknown people to undertake certain things. Those are the rules of underground. I'm just telling you the story that will be told at the right time. Zuma trusted, as he always trusts people, trusted his people and gave some tasks. Like in the long line of our struggle, there were people who were given tasks, but who sold out. And I can tell you stories about it. So I'm just saying to the one who was asking the question, don't worry. You will get the answers at the right time. And I must also say something about Nkandla. I believe that quite a number of you, when this organization will be having a few years going up, you will feel that in order to be in Umsebenzi is almost committing something wrong. Because Umsebenzi is the final answer of the problems of our country. The final answer. You might, if you are a funny person, try to find reasons why it is not so, but will not find, because it is absolutely correct. For us, as oppressed people, to stand up and liberate ourselves. If we don't do so, we'll be a funny kind of a nation that praises oppression, either indirectly or directly. I can't understand, and I will never understand, that a South African who was here before the arrival of Europe, the country was taken, many people were killed in the wars. Finally, the population was driven to the corners, and the whole world of this country was taken, and everybody has everything. Those who came, there's not a single one who has nothing. To the indigenous people. Now, if we are an indigenous people, you want to criticize people who are saying, let us bring our country back. Sure, there's something grossly wrong with us. That's why I believe that with time, we will be together. We will be together. If as a journalist, I would be asking very wonderful questions. How did you come to this idea to help us because we are in trouble? Absolutely. I would ask that question. Just let us know. Just take us with you so that we can quickly correct the wrongs. I wouldn't be saying, Mr. Zuma, why did you do this? Ask a question which seems to be opposite of what we need to do. And I'm telling the truth. One day when you are old like me, I'm still young though, you will say, that young man was right. What had happened to us? Why did we ask questions which were wanting to, be just the correct thing that some of our people were doing? Let me not say much because I know you love listening to me. Just make them happy. Just say something. No, one of the points that I wanted to make is that the interpretation of the comrade who's sitting here, that I'm standing next to, this one, you don't know. There are politicians and politicians. This comrade I've known from when he was very young in the ANC Youth League. That's when I picked him up that he is a real politician. His politics, which I defy as scientific politics. This young man. He's a young man to me. Don't worry that he's big than me and all. Honest politician. Honest. Clear political. He takes decisions at the right time for good reasons. And I'm happy that today he told what you all did not know. That when I started, after taking a decision to fight the African National Congress underground, and I had an opportunity to say we needed to come to correct politics about our country and our operations or whatever. I took a decision to meet all political parties, black political parties, to talk to them about the destiny of a black person in South Africa. Because whatever we're doing, having our parties, different parties, etc., we're all missing the point that we are oppressed, all of us as blacks. No matter how much we did not understand, we're trying to fight among ourselves. We're missing the point. Because the white population took a decision to take us out of everything in South Africa. We, all of us, but a single one, no matter how you could love them. It is a fact. The British lead the debate with the Afrikaners that black people must never allow it to have rights in this country. They must have no right to vote or to be voted for. They persuaded the Afrikaners after the Anglo-Boer War, and finally they agreed. We must never have these at our level. Now you might deny it if you'd want to. Angineka amanzi lapha ngidala manje. Funa ngihlale ngiphuza amanzi kancane. Ngenzela ukuthi ngikhulumise kwenja nami ngikwetize. Whether we like it or not, it is a fact. It is a fact. You must know. There was a conspiracy against black people not to participate in their country, in running of the country, in being voted for or to vote. It is a fact. It was a discussion or a meeting of, which was at, what is this place near Johannesburg? Vereeniging. They were having a discussion to bring peace and harmony in this country after the Anglo-Boer War. The decision was taken. Many of you don't know That's when we made, not to vote, not to participate in the running of the country and everything. It's a serious matter. It's not a small matter. It's an old matter, but it's a very new matter. It affects us now. It affected us then. It still affects us now. That's the reason why when we said we are coming to peace in our country, many things have been put in laws, in practice, in behavior, in finances, in the economy. You'll never come out. It's a serious matter. It is a serious matter. For some of us are sitting here working for organizations that give news, and we are being diverted to discuss all other things. If there is a person like my brother here, there is no happiness to say, thanks God, the good people are coming together. Ufuna, what do you want? Kulava, what do you want? You make the news about us being ourselves. We make news about ourselves sent by big fellows with money behind who say, we'll pay you, go and deal with them. That's what it is, if I tell the truth. There's been no wonderful question here that says, then how did you come to this good idea that the black people must come together and be united like others? Instead of asking that question, why have you joined this one or not that one? Is it not true? It is. Fumani. Tanin siyavu. Okay, let me leave this hard stuff. Just to tell you, when they asked a question about Zuma being chased away from the ANC, blah, 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 you said, we are not going to leave the ANC. We will die in the ANC. But we are forming another organization. Only my brother here understood that very well. Only. The reason why I said I will never leave the ANC is because I love history. I know history. The ANC was established by our ancestors. The traditional leaders, our pastors were black, our intellectuals, to defend the black person who was being suppressed by the whites. And they knew what they were doing. And it was the organization of all of us. They were uniting us because prior to that, the unity was not at that level. All these traditional leaders were in their areas, so to speak. But they realized that the black person is being taken out of his own country whilst living in his own country. And it was important for us to do so. And if we have to die for it, we must. And many have died for it, fighting for our liberation. I know that that situation is always made to be a very polite thing, so that is not a small thing. Many people died, many people stayed in prison, many were killed for fighting for their rights, tortured to death. Others were thrown into the sea, you never know, never find them again. Can only be a funny nation that says, okay, kwenzeka, kwenzeka. You don't say, let us stand and liberate ourselves. Precisely because that organization was established by those people, some of us will respect that organization which was established by our ancestors. Because it was correct, it was true, it was defending the nation. Now, if then the leaders of that organization at a given time turn away from what was given to all of us, they are actually undermining our ancestors who were correct and undermining the organization itself, which is our tool to liberate ourselves. And some of us were said, I'm leaving the ANC because it has gone out of the way. It's no longer the ANC we know. This is the Ramaphosa ANC. And we said it, and we'll continue saying it. They've deviated, they've moved out of the way. But this organization had made the struggle in South Africa to be known throughout the world. There are many things that they did. They sacrificed, they died. They followed from the organizations that were called or whatever in the past. Let me not mention them. As me, with a very sore heart, saying I'm not going to vote for the ANC, I want you to understand this. Why I said, much as I will vote for Nkandla, but I will never leave the ANC as a member. I will die the ANC. I was respecting our ancestors who established the ANC. You cannot take the history of struggle, the history of struggle of the ANC, run away from it when we have sacrificed it. Some of us served years in prison, went to exile. It was not a nice thing, it was not playing soccer. It was a struggle. And if people were changing this organization, giving it to the whites, the oppressors, they are taking even the history to back to the oppressors. And I was saying I will fight for that. Even if I'm in the MK, I will fight to get the history of the ANC here to us who fought for this liberation. So I don't want people to misunderstand, because I did not say all of this. I was just making the point historically that I belong to this organization. But when it was still the organization that was established by our ancestors. This one, which now looks funny, led by somebody else. I'm not going to leave that one. This one I'm leaving, I'm not going to vote for. Clear, 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 clear. I don't want one day, why Zuma? One day, when I'm an old man, because now I'm very young. I'm very young now. I will tell people, I will tell the citizens of this country that you sold out by creating other organizations, helping the enemy to disperse us so that we don't have a concrete majority. Because that's what is done with these little parties that we've been establishing, all of us. We must come to a point where we realize the reality. And I'm telling you, this comrade will come to the books of history. He had done something that many would not do, because his politics is scientific.
And that's why even his has become a big issue. Because it is a scientific, proper scientific, to say we are closer to our liberation. Let us join together to reach there so that we can have this country in peace with everybody, including the whites, everybody's here. Because for now, this country, there is no peace because black people are like, I don't know how we could describe them. We've got cities. In the city, there is what is called, what is this last forum? Township. Why there is a city and a township? Why? Have you asked that question? Why there's no city only? There's a city and a township. Should we say fine to stay in the township where times the toilets are not correct, every other thing? Until when? Coming with Umkhonto Wesizwe, we are coming with a solution for this country forever so that there will be peace, there will be harmony, there will be everything. If you don't want it, fine. We'll help you. We'll take you once we make it. That's why the issue of the black political parties must come together to be one. Because the whites are not there together. They've been consolidating in what is called, what is this party about? Trying? Huh? DA. If you count it, they are very few. They are few. There is a serious period coming, which we want to deal with peacefully, fortunately. That's why when we're moving up and down, we're saying we want to have 2/3 majority. Because we want this to come peacefully, no longer through the barrel of the gun. Peacefully. We must come to our senses, realize that we cannot live like this. A city, and what? Township, a rural area, urban. Why? Where in the rural areas where we stay, there's not a single hospital. All hospital in the cities. I don't want to be emotional. I was just telling you that what we are all about is about us bringing this country where it is supposed to be for all its citizens, black and white. We are hating no one. And one day I'll invite you to Nkandla, the journalists, so that I'll to help you in your job, to quicken this. Agreed? One panagit. So one day for Sunday. But I'd like to thank you for being with us today and the questions we have asked. And as you realize, we are serious, as we have been serious. There's a lot of wrongs. We can't sit and be happy when our children are finished by liquor and everything, and think that is correct. And to sit in the country as if everything is fine. It can't be. The youth is the citizens of tomorrow. And it is our duty, it's our duty to ensure that we have the future of our young people who will be in charge of this country and making life wonderful.
can't. If we sit, no. I mean, people are killed every other day. We've got police, we've got everything, but people are continuing to be killed. They are employed every other year. We have now become so soft to wrong things. We must stop that. That's what we must do. And we are going to stop it. We are going to stop it. All we need is to be in charge of this country. You will see what we tell you will happen. You will walk in the dark without fearing anybody, because criminals are going to be put away. Uyobukwazi umkhonto. You must not take us as if we are jokes, we are just stand up and party. No. We are correcting the situation of our country. Fortunately, we know why our country was singled out to be colonizer. Colonizer. What happened? And we as citizens don't want to correct that. We didn't live like this all the time. I think it's our time. Everyone who visited us must feel at home. We will never chase anyone away. But we say there must be equality. If you went to those who have money, the banks, and they asked to establish a business, after questioning you a lot, they will tell you, sorry, you can't help. That's what happens. So that you remain a semi-slave. Went there and said, I want to do a business. After questioning, they said, we have got the money you want. In other words, there is as a solution to the problems of this country. And it is care about their own. Their own skin. So, okay. I'd like to thank the comrades who are here and the ones who have been identified to lead this organization. And indeed, we want to bring changes. We want to have an MK that is disciplined, that respects people, that is standing for the interests of the people. That's what we want to do. We don't want to see any one of us doing something. Part of the reason we have said we don't need conferences for now, as we are establishing our people use money, they buy people to vote for them and do everything. No, we are saying that is not going to happen. No. That is why we are saying we are not interested in the conference, nice things there, spending a lot of money before we consolidate as a party to be a party that every citizen in this country respect. And I must answer this question because some people were asking that we've been taking people out. I think we have heard the SGs who stand, but before we finish a year, it's a fifth one. Because we said nobody does something wrong, we're going to tolerate. We must know it. If there are people who do wrong things here,
because we are here to liberate our country. It's critical. Nina ke bese nibhala niyajabula ke. Nangoke futhi sekuxosha umunye. Abone ke you are not even asking kwenze njani. We mean serious business when we say we want to liberate the black man who has been oppressed for centuries. This is our time. I'm just telling you ngoba ngithole nishibhile. Ngiphelele la. Ngaze ngabathola madaka baba. Ngeke mina ukuthi sikhulume. Ngoba straight nje. Angishone eceleni. Yebo. Ngisho intombi nje ngiyeshela ngaze ngifike kuyo ngithi wethu uyangibona kodwa. Uyangibona. Ngiyabonga ukuthi umuntu omnyama khululeka. Isikhathi sifikile.
President and the collective leadership. I'm happy, President, you had to stand here for almost an hour because kuthiwa hlezulela Umsebenzi. Now we've demonstrated that the President is fit, capable, and leading. On a serious note, we want to thank you, colleagues from the media, those who covered us live and those who are going to report. As I said earlier on, the SG is going to direct after this. And unfortunately, we must indicate the President won't be taking any one-on-ones. From here, he's going straight to continue plotting underground so that you can continue to announce new members to our building Umkhonto Wesizwe Party. SG, you will help. I know Comrade Nkandla has all your emails, colleagues. If it has not been sent the statement, he's going to send it. And there was a request. I know the SG and his team will look into availing the President for one-on-ones within a month or so that the podcasters who have been asking to have a one-on-one with the President, they can have it. Podcasters, yes. The mainstream media has been going there. I'm sure they will be identified those that will go and a one-on-one. We want to thank you, colleagues. We'll allow the President to leave. And the officials, as directed by the SG, those that will have to remain, will remain. The rest of us will follow the President and release the media. Thanks very much, colleagues.
Yeah.